So you've come up with the next best product in the world, but you're concerned that your supplier might steal your idea. Well, this is the video for you. Yes, and welcome back to the official Sourcing with Kian YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Kian Golzari, and I've been living and working in China for the past 12 years. In that time, I've designed, developed, and sourced and manufactured over 2,500 different products, visited more than 500 factories, and attended more than 20 Canton fairs. That has led me to work with different brands, retailers, and licenses, such as the NBA, the Olympics, the United Nations, Ministry of Defense, plus Amazon and Shopify sellers, and a bunch of big box retailers in the UK, Europe, and the US. If you're new to the channel, I would greatly appreciate if you could smash that like button and subscribe so you can stay up to date on the latest of what is happening in China. Now, let's get into the video. Okay, so tip number one, and this is probably the most obvious one, is get your supplier to sign a NNN agreement. Now, this is a non-use, non-circumvention, and non-disclosure document, but for this document to be enforceable, it has to be written in both English and Chinese, and you need to get their company stamp or their company chop stamped on the document as well. A word of caution with this, like in all my years of developing manufacturing products, I've only got my suppliers to sign one NNN document, and it's because if you've seen much of my content before, I always prioritize the importance and preach the importance of building a relationship with your manufacturer. Now, if you give your supplier an NNN document, that's like you telling them, hey, I want you to manufacture my products, but I don't trust you and you might copy me, so I need you to sign this document. It doesn't necessarily start your relationship off on the right foot. And the other thing is, most people think their supplier is going to copy them, but in actual fact, it's a competitor which buys your product, sends it to another supplier, and that other supplier then copies you. So it's quite often not your actual supplier that you need to be worried about. Essentially, the NNN is a piece of paper. It's very expensive to enforce because for you to actually enforce it means that you have to go and sue your supplier in China. You have to hire a Chinese lawyer. It can be a very expensive and time-consuming process in a country where you don't necessarily know the law, so it's not really going to be worth it for you. Now, I would only say use an NNN agreement if you've developed and invented the next microwave or the next electric toothbrush, which can clean all sorts of other things at the same time. This has never been seen before, so I have to protect this idea. That's fair enough. But you have to be very self-aware of what is actually your innovation. If you've just slightly changed the design of a product, or you've changed the pattern of it, or you've changed the material, or you've made it a little bit larger for a different market or whatever, that doesn't necessarily require an NNN agreement. So just be self-aware. Do you really need it? Have you brought something to the market of real innovation? If you have, then go for it. And if not, just work on building that relationship. Send an email to the supplier to say, hey, I really value working with you for the long term. I'll look forward to developing many different products with you. I would really appreciate your trust in this matter and not share this design or product with any other customer. That would be greatly appreciated. Please confirm in writing. And then that's just saying, you saying to them, hey, I trust you. Please don't violate the trust. And then that's the start of your relationship. And that's the way I would proceed with step one. Okay, so tip number two, which is the ultimate form of protection, this is what I think everyone should be doing in the first instance, is that if you do have something of real innovation that you want to protect, get a design patent or a utility patent on your actual product so that no one can actually copy you. So, and if you get that as a worldwide patent, if anyone wants to sell your product in China, Australia, Japan, USA, UK, Europe, well, you can legally take them off sale because you have that design patent of that product. Now, if you don't get a design patent, then that probably means that the innovation wasn't large enough for you to get the supplier to sign an NNN agreement. So if you feel like you've brought something of real innovation, get a design patent so your product design is protected from not only your supplier, but from the rest of the world as well. So tip number three to prevent you from getting your product design copied is have a good relationship with your supplier. If you've seen much of my content before, I preach the importance of building a relationship. So why would your supplier copy you if they're very good friends with you? They don't want to take out one of their customers, which is also one of their good friends. So the better relationship that you have, the more open they are with you, the less they're likely to want to take any of your product ideas. And quite a lot of your suppliers don't even sell products themselves as well. And if they do have other customers, they don't go sharing your private information with their other customers as well, because they don't want to damage your relationship and they don't want to lose you as a customer. Your orders are their most important thing to them, and they would not risk and jeopardize that. Hey guys, if you are getting value from this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could smash that like button real quick, and if you could tap the bell ding ding to be notified when I bring you new videos like this. And remember, I do have loads of cool things for you down in the links in the description down below. Discounts to cool stuff, sourcing platform, sourcing agency, masterminds, one-on-one coaching, all that sort of fun stuff. So check out the links in the description down below, and let's get back to the video. Okay, so tip number 4, right? If I've got something of real innovation, or maybe just a slight little tweak, but I need to go and talk to 10 different suppliers or whatever to get the best price and to find out what their capabilities are, but I don't want to share my innovation. So what I would do is I would take a product similar to what my innovation is. So let's say, for example, I've got a outdoor camping stool, right, which is a tripod stool, and it's got a really cool handle on the side, which no one's ever done before. So what I would do is I would take that tripod camping stool without the handle on the side, and I would share that with my different suppliers, and I would get the prices, samples, quotations, analyze their communication, how many years they've been in business, what certifications they've got, all that sort of stuff, and narrow it down from 10 suppliers to 5 to maybe samples from 3, and then I would select my favorite supplier. Once I've selected that favorite supplier, now I'm going to share with them my innovation. So I didn't actually have to share it with those 10 suppliers. I still found a similar product, narrowed it down, and when I got my favorite supplier, which is the one I'm most likely to work with, now I've shared my innovation. So those other suppliers never saw the innovation, only the supplier which I actually ended up working with. The other thing, tip number 5, is more of a mindset thing. Imitating and innovating on top of products is kind of the nature of the game. Like, how did you get the idea for the product you're developing right now? You essentially saw something out there. You're like, I can improve that a little bit. I can change something, I can tweak something, and I can bring out the next best version. So I'm going to study my competition, I'm going to make sure I'm better, and I'm going to bring out that next iteration. So if someone does that to you and sees your product and makes a small tweak to it, don't get concerned, because that's just the nature of the game that we play in. And leading on from that, tip number 6 is that if someone does copy your product, and let's say they don't make any changes, but they just copy your product, it's validation that you're good at what you do. And once it happens enough times, like it used to really bother me, I would lose sleep over it, and that was many years ago. But now when it happens, I don't actually care, I don't mind, because that's just the market telling me that I'm good at what I do, and it gives me more confidence into developing more products, because I know people want to copy it, I know people are keeping an eye on what I'm doing. So that just gives me more confidence developing the next products. So just allow it to feed your ego rather than to piss you off. So tip number 7 is invest in molds for your product. So if it is, depending on what the product is, it might require a mold, whether it's like plastic, steel, metal, whatever it may be. If it's a new shape or anything like that, it might require a mold. Now, molds can be expensive, and this therefore causes a high barrier to entry. So either from your supplier or from any other customer, let's say if you're still worried about your supplier who might copy you. Now, the cool thing about molds is that it's your custom shape, so you have the opportunity to add your logo onto the mold. So think of any like backpack, for example, on the buckles on the shoulder strap, you will see a Nike logo or you'll see a North Face logo. So no one can really copy their buckles because it's got their logo on it. So if that factory was to take the mold for North Face and sell it to someone else, they can't, because the North Face logo is on it. So make sure if your product has a mold that you put your logo on the mold. But the most important thing is that make sure that your mold is embossed, not debossed. Because if it's debossed, it means your logo is going inward and it means they can fill it in. But if it's embossed, it means your logo is going to stick out, which means that they can't fill it in. So definitely see if you can add a mold to your product. If a mold was required, make sure your logo is embossed. Now, tip number 8, probably one of my favorites as well, is that people can copy your product, but they cannot copy your brand. So the ultimate defensibility is building your own brand, building your own community. Now, your customers will buy your product because they like your brand, not necessarily because it's the cheapest price. So if someone copies your product, they might be able to offer it at a slightly lower price, but if their brand doesn't resonate with that audience, then they're always going to choose you. Now, look at what you're wearing right now, look at what's in front of your desk, look what's in front of you. What do you see there which is a brand that you like? With everything that's in front of you or what you're wearing, what is it that you bought because you like that brand, and what is it that you bought because it was a low price? So think about that with your products. What experience are you creating? What brand are you building? What community have you got? How are you adding value to that community? And packaging is one of the most important ways to show your brand to your audience as well. So are you investing in your packaging? Are you investing in your experience? What influencers are you working with? How are you promoting your brand? Who are you giving your products to? So always think about those sort of things, because people can copy your product, but they cannot copy your brand. So guys, I hope you liked that video as well. Make sure we stay in touch. Let's keep in communication on social. On Instagram, you can find me. I am Kian_JG. I've also got a Facebook group called Sourcing with Kian. Definitely check that out. It's a really cool community where if you have any questions on supply chain, you can post it there. As I said, I've also got sourcing platform, sourcing agency, which can be found in the link in the description down below, plus loads of other cool stuff. So let's stay in touch, let's stay connected, and I will see you guys on the next video.